Thank you, and good morning. It's a great day. It's a great day at the Center for Spiritual Living, Asheville. Do you know that we are known around town as the Prosperity Church? We are known as the Prosperity Church because you can come to this center and learn how to create things in your life. Lynn did a wonderful treatment knowing that our bank accounts are filled full to overflowing, that our bodies are healthy, that we're surrounded by loving people, that we are well paid for what we do. We can learn how to create specifically things in our life. And after working this philosophy, this teaching for 36 years, what I know is that the creation of things is the first step. It is the first step. It's a really important step because what I have found is that people who can't pay their rent and people who are hungry and haven't got any gas in their dilapidated old cars won't listen to me when I speak about these wonderful spiritual concepts. And so I need to teach them how to have their rent paid, buy a house if they want, have plenty of food and groceries in the house, have a tank full of gas whenever they want it, and a car that they love to drive. I have to teach them these things. So I don't want to get lost in that level of acquiring things. And I used to hold this for practitioner classes, but I've noticed that I'm bringing it in earlier and earlier into my classes because I want people to get off on the right foot in this spiritual journey. What I want is for us to recognize that the manifestation of things is fantastic. I think that we are meant to live the blessed life. We are supposed to be filled full to overflowing in life, but there's more to it than that. Because there is an idea behind the creation of things that is about who we are. It is an idea of being that, for me, transcends the getting. Now, get, by all means get, but don't get lost in the getting. Otherwise, what will happen is you will always be focused on getting. And you may have noticed that when you get something, it doesn't stay. Circle of life. It came to pass and not to stay. We're going to get something, but then sooner or later it's going to shift. And what do? We start looking to get more. We start wanting more. Even if what we get, we keep, our desires grow beyond it. I was having so much fun with Wayne out by the door because I've been bragging on him that he went out to the pier in West Palm Beach a few weeks ago and just threw his line out and caught a snook, turned around and walked home. Now, for those of you who are Florida fisher people, the snook is the god of all fish. And so he just threw his line out, caught it, and walked back. And it reminded me of how much I love to fish and how much time I spent years and years and years in fishing in my younger days. And it seems to always start off with fishing from the beach or from a seawall or something. And then, you know, boy, if you could just get out into the water a little bit, either on a pier or over the water on a bridge, wouldn't that be better? And so you find yourself out on the pier or over the bridge, and then a little rowboat goes by. Whoa, if I could just get in a rowboat, it would be so much better. And then you get the rowboat. Oh, if I could just have a motor, just a little motor. And so you get the boat with the little motor, and then somebody comes by and leaves their wake on you, and you're bouncing up and down, and you go, oh, if I could just have a bigger boat, and a bigger boat, and a bigger boat, and a bigger boat. So even if the thing that we get, we keep, we morph beyond it so that if we are dealing at the level of things, that I will be happy when my boat is big enough, and just translate boat for whatever it is you want that to be. I will be happy when my something is big enough. We are always dealing with the outside. And the thing I love about this teaching is that it's all about the inside. Salvation is an inside job. When we shift on the inside, the outer automatically changes. But once you've shifted on the inside, the outer doesn't have the big bang to it. It's like, oh yeah, well of course, I already have this within me. I've already embodied it in a state of consciousness. I've been living it. I've been knowing it. And so of course it would happen on the outer. But if we are completely focused on the outer, then it's, oh, I got to get it. I got to hold on to it, which just automatically means we're going to lose it because we're operating out of fear of loss. So I've got to hold on to it, and then it just kind of dissipates, and then I've got to go and get more. Deepak Chopra called this being outer referenced. Did you like me today? Are you going to tell me what I get, what a good talk I gave? Are you going to tell me how much you like this new jacket of mine? Are you going to tell me how wonderful it is, how you've used these teachings, they've just changed your life? Are there enough people in the room? Is there enough money coming in? How am I doing by my outer world? That's called being outer referenced, and I tell you, it is exhausting. It is exhausting. If you only know who you are by what your partner or your lover thinks about you, or your boss, or your employees, or your children, or your parents, you are exhausted. But there's another side to that about being inner referenced, which is, I know who I am. And I do. I have spent decades getting clear about who I am. And I know who I am even when the outer doesn't look the way I thought it should. I know who I am. I've got this. I can handle this. I know what I need to know. I'm doing what I need to do. I'm clear inside of myself. And when I'm in that state of consciousness, then the outer is just a perk. But the outer doesn't tell me who I am. Sometimes when we're creating something and we think that it's all about the thing, because we really need the thing to be okay. Sometimes when we're creating something and it doesn't turn out the way we thought it would turn out, sometimes some people think that it's a problem. Some people think that it's wrong. Some people think that it didn't work. I love what Wallace Wattles says in The Science of Getting Rich. He said, if what you asked for didn't happen, you didn't ask big enough. Yes. If what you asked for didn't happen, you just didn't ask big enough. You are in as Abraham, or the number of entities that are not in physical form coming through Esther Hicks, called Abraham. As they say, you have to be a vibrational match for what you want. So what Abraham teaches, and those of you who are Abraham fans know this, that as you shift your vibration, you kind of forget about the outside. The teachings of Abraham are all about being happy. You got to love this. Be happy no matter what. Be happy no matter what. Doesn't matter how much money you have. Doesn't matter who loves you, who doesn't. Doesn't matter what your face looked like when you awakened in the morning. It doesn't matter. Just be happy. And when you are happy, you will be a vibrational match to happy things, and they will automatically show up in your life. That is about being instead of getting. Now there's another idea that's a little bit headier, and you know how I love my heady quotes, so take a deep breath. Let it out. Continue breathing on your own. But one of the people that Ernest Holmes studied, Ernest Holmes created the philosophy, the science of mind, which we teach. And one of the things that Ernest Holmes studied was, one of the people was Thomas Troward. And Thomas Troward was doing lectures on mental science, this thing called mental science. And mental science teaches that there is a mental cause that operates on a mental law, and then creation is a byproduct of that. But he says that you can have cause at all different levels. You can create cause in what he says first cause, which is the absolute, which is whatever God is, I am, and so it is. All is well, all is spirit, made manifest, in form. That means everything is perfect, everything is whole, everything is complete. Everything is love and light and joy and peace and power, and it doesn't matter what form it is taking, that's all that there is. Health and wholeness, prosperity and joy. We're done. But he also says that there is another level of cause that is called secondary causation. And secondary causation is about when I get this, then it will be cause to my happiness, and I will be okay. If this person stays with me, then I will be loved and lovable and safe. If this deal goes through, if I have this much in my pocket, then everything will be okay. That's called secondary causation. And back to my quote, this is what he said. When you allow your purpose to be contingent upon any person, place, or thing, person, place, or thing, you have descended to the level of secondary causation. And that is the realm of doubt and fear and limitation. Because as soon as you think it's going to be made okay by this thing, whether it's a person, whether it's a boat, whether it's an amount of money, whether it's a diagnosis, as soon as you think it's going to be made okay by this thing, you are at the level of doubt and fear and limitation because things go. Things come and things go. That's the nature of physical form. It's always changing. The only thing constant is change. So things change, and as soon as we grab hold of it and think that our good is now held in our hand by this thing. Look at me, look how cool I am. I have this thing to validate who I am. We're at the level of doubt and fear and limitation. Not a good level. Descended. So what we want to do is we want to rise up. To rise up into the beingness of who we are. Who are we? Who are you? Who are you? Are you just your parents' child? Are you your age, your gender, your socioeconomic status, your education level, what you got, what you're doing? Is that who you are? No. You are God in form as you. You are a being of light and love. That's who you are, and nothing can give that to you, and nothing can take that away. So when you start to look at the circumstances in your life and say, I don't care if you have less zeros than I thought you were going to have, I know who I am. When you start looking at the people in your life and say, I don't care if you don't want to be with me anymore, I know who I am. If you start looking at what the doctor tries to tell you is the truth about your physical body and say, I don't care what it feels like, I don't care what picture you took, I don't care what label you put on it, I know who I am. Then you have moved into the level of beingness. Now when you're at that level of clarity of consciousness, that rising in your awareness of who you are, of God as you, of living in a spiritual universe, the outer must take form. It must take form in alignment with that, but that's not why you do it. If you do it to try to work a deal, if you do it to try to have a scheme that I'm going to feel inside of myself my blessed nature, my light and my love, so that this person won't leave me, well, you're not really doing it. You're just playing a game inside of yourself. You have to be willing to let it all fall away, because if it's not yours, you can't keep it, and if it doesn't show up, it's not big enough. So sometimes we let go of the littleness of our lives, and that's when we stand clear about who we are. Well, go ahead and fire me. I know who I am. Go ahead and close my company down. I know who I am. You want to have this amount of money magically disappear? I still know who I am. You want to have this person say that about me? I know who I am. I don't care about the outer. I know who I am. And then, life shows up. Bigger than you ever thought it could be. More happy, more prosperous, more joy-filled than you ever dreamed, because you have changed that cause. You have moved into God as you. You've opened the floodgates and whoosh, Spirit's coming through. That's what we're doing. You need to get something great. You need some money, just come see me. Come to class. I'll teach you how to create stuff, but please don't stop at stuff. There's so much more. You are so much more. You are not what's going on outside of you. You are an amazing being. You are light and love and power and joy, Spirit let loose on this planet as you. That's who you are. And you know, beyond the stuff, that's what we want. I want stuff so that I can feel good. Well, I want to feel good no matter what stuff is around. I want people so that I feel loved. Well, I want to feel loved no matter what people are around. You know, if you go around clear about who you are, people will be drawn to you. If you go around clear about your wealth and your value, money will be drawn to you. Stuff will seek you out. They will go by all kinds of seemingly perfectly rational venues And they will find you. They will go by thousands of people to seek you out. But it's not about the outer. If the outer leaves, it's only because you have got something better showing up in your life. And this is me, this is me, 36 years. I remember how driven I was in my younger years. I wanted a big mega church. I don't want a mega church. What a mega headache. We have something called a minister's listserv, and that's where a lot of ministers are online, and a couple of ministers talk back and forth constantly. What is the phrase? Ad infinitum, ad nauseum. But there were some statistics released about how many centers we have and what the average size of them is and what ministers' salaries are and how many ministers are in a community and that kind of thing. And immediately there were the criticisms because most of the centers in our movement are 100 people or less. Most of the churches in the country or the world are 100 people or less. So there was all of this criticism about, well, how come we can't be like Agape in LA? And how come we can't be like Mile High in Denver? And how come we can't be justified by the outer? And then the people who rarely speak up started commenting, I know who I am. I love my community. You want to judge me by how many people show up on Sunday? We're doing amazing work. People's lives are changing. And I went, yes, that is so true for me. I don't want to judge myself on how many television stations I am on. I don't want to judge myself on how many people show up. I don't want to judge myself, period. I want to know who I am. So what is your issue? What is your issue that you just let go of God inform as you for a moment and go, well, that wasn't very good. No, it was perfect. It was whole. It was complete. It was wonderful. God is all there is. God is you and everything and everyone else, and so it is. That's it. That is knowing who you are. What is your Achilles heel? What is it that you let get into you and somehow you think less of you? Whatever it is, I want you to take a deep breath, look at it straight on and say, I know who I am. I know who I am. I am doing exactly what I need to be doing. I'm in my perfect and right place, doing this moment the very best that it could ever be, because it is me doing my moment. Look at that. Stop everything and challenge the part of you that thinks that what the world thinks of you or what you can hold in your hand has anything to do with who you are. You are God in form as you. If you want to get, great. But the most important thing is to be the God being that you were always meant to be. And so it is.